This offseason, what have you tried to work on to take your game to the next level?
Yeah, I think for me it was pretty simple. We had a good meeting at the end of the year. Dusty and I developed a good plan for me to work on, and primarily goal number one is really throw more strikes with pitches that aren't my four-seam fastball. So throwing more strikes with my curveball, my two-seam, slider. Just kind of that's kind of goal number one. Goal number two was development of an off-speed pitch, whether it be a changeup or a splitter, and I've been working on the kind of like the social media kick changeup, and that's been coming along really well. I've thrown a lot of really good ones, and I'm really excited for that this year. And then the last thing I've been working on is a little bit of a carry fastball, and so that's been kind of the beginnings of working on that. But we'll see how that kind of takes hold. The other two things have been my priority, and really feel like those are coming along and going to give me more tools to have success this upcoming season.
With the carry fastball, how do you kind of go about developing that?
That was definitely the trickiest one because of what I naturally do is I don't carry a fastball, I kind of cut it. So really the goal is just kind of like finding a grip or finding
a mental cue on how to throw that so I can kind of stay behind it better and develop a better four-seam spin.
As far as how those pitches have come along, what I guess have you been able to see with kind of what they look like at this point?
Yeah, I mean
really the changeups I think it's been shocking to me because I've tried throwing that pitch. It's my first year of college, and never was able to find something that really stuck. And the guy I was working with kind of put in my hand, said do this, and it really like the first one was like, dang, that's not bad. And then I just continued to improve. There's still like consistency issues with that pitch because it is a tough pitch to grab, and there's like the way you throw it, there's a little bit of randomness to it. But I've seen a lot of really good results. It's been pretty consistent from day to day of being a solid, like looking like a solid offering for me. So yeah.
What kind of movement are you looking to get on that changeup? Is it a pitch that works better against righties or lefties, or do you know yet?
Usually they work better against opposite-hand hitters, so lefties. But I think just the way my stuff profiles, like I can basically kind of kick any normal expectations out of the book because of how I throw. So I think it can be definitely a useful pitch against righties. And the way it's currently moving, I think with a little bit of kind of downwards fade towards the arm side, I think could be really effective against both-handed batters.
I think you kind of touched on this a little bit before when you talk about the three pitches. I mean, like you said, it's just giving you more kind of tools, more options in your arsenal.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys, they see you so much as a starter. I mean, 163 innings, 31 starts. They know you. They see your fastball. They got the machines in the batting cages now where they take 30 at bats off you before the game even starts. So it's hard to beat them by pure stuff when they can see your stuff so much and they get used to it before a game starts. So really, you kind of have to play more of the. I've got different ways of getting you out. Yeah, that's what you see all the guys that pitch for 12 years. You know, they all have a lot of pitches. They all have unpredictability. They all have different movements and stuff like that. And so I think that's kind of the path I'm developing along.
Andre, how did you sequence last year? How you're still like top 5 in baseball in ground ball percentage, but then the other numbers spiked. How did you kind of put those two together?
Really, I mean, it comes to home runs, right? Like, I think that was the biggest jump. I limited the home runs so well 2 years ago, and that's what, kept me from giving up runs and kept us winning games. And so this year last year I gave up a lot more home runs, and I think a lot of that was due to predictability and familiarity. That's kind of what Dusty talks about. A big thing is that's the biggest thing that hitters kind of lean on. And so I can't do much with the familiarity. Like, they're going to see me a lot. Like, that's just the nature of being a starting pitcher in the big leagues. But I can do stuff to affect the predictability, and that's where landing more or throwing more strikes with pitches that aren't my four-seam fastball comes in.
Andre, how have you sort of, I guess, looked at this offseason, or just sort of, I'm sure you're aware of, the additions that were made. They've brought in a bunch of different starters, guys who are going to be in that conversation for the rotation. How have you taken that in? What does that mean for you? How you're approaching spring training, this offseason and spring training with that going on?
Yeah, I think one thing that is so well known in this game now for all us guys, and trying to find our spot on the team is really if you are a major league quality pitcher, you're going to be in the big leagues. You're never going to be stowed away or stuffed somewhere for long if you belong in the big leagues. And so the way I'm taking it is, I know we're bringing a lot of guys, and I just know that if I perform up to the level that I'm capable of, that's a major league quality pitcher, and I'm going to find myself pitching in the big leagues. So it's really not too concerned with what's going on with the people around me, the stuff I can't control, but being very intentional with what I can control and improving that, so that way I can be that pitcher that I know I'm capable of.
How much did last year mess with your confidence? Did it take you a while to kind of get over the hump, or did you sit down and reevaluate? I mean, you're a guy who delves into the numbers and looks for reasons. What did you put your finger on?
Yeah, I mean, like kind of what I said earlier, right? It's limiting the home runs, really. Limiting the home runs and striking guys out more, really. I mean, kind of the basics of pitching, right? Letting guys get back into at bats when I have them 0-2, 1-2, throwing like a lot of really uncompetitive waste pitches. And then, when I'm behind the count, how do I limit that damage from, and that's where we talk about the unpredictability and striking guys out comes with like developing more pitches that I can kind of come at you with. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, it's not. It definitely doesn't instill confidence when you struggle as much as I did last year. But I think I've got so much more confidence now, knowing that I'll have more tools to come out with. And when you come into the year as a different pitcher, I think that alone, I think is like I'm not the same guy I was last year. Who's not the same guy that I was 2 years ago, and that alone is like, hey, you haven't seen this Andre yet. So.
I guess what,
Those additional pitches you've been working on, what's kind of the level or like the feeling of like excitement, I guess, as you look towards spring and kind of get to test drive them, and when you get to that point of live BPs and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see what the hitters. I mean, I really have a lot of confidence in what I'm doing. I really think that's going to be effective for me. So I think because of that, I'm very excited to see how that plays. But I know that's like the development of the changeup or the carry fastball. Like those pitches are going to be good, but that's not going to be the difference maker as much as goal number one, which was being able to land more non-fastballs for strikes. That's going to be the biggest difference maker. So with that in mind, when I go into spring training and I'm throwing my live BPs on the backfield, it's going to be really challenging myself and challenging the hitters with those different pitches and counts that I normally wouldn't rely on them on.
since you've gone from like Planet Fitness to a real gym, did you change anything as far as your workout routine this off season, or?
I've been throwing a lot more with the guy that McGreevy works with in the off season. So I've been throwing there, and he's the guy that kind of taught me the grip for the changeup and stuff. And I think he's been really good for me.
After losing guys like Sonny Gray and Miles Michaelis in the rotation, how does that going to influence like the vibe with you being kind of one of the veteran presences in the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's different. I know I've had the pleasure of playing with so many good pitchers. Sonny, you talked about, Lance, Gibson, Wainwright, and we're going to have a lot of young guys, and I'm going to do my best to relay what they've taught me to them. And kind of take on that role of just trying to explain, like, hey, this is what these guys told me throughout their careers and stuff like that. So kind of be like the middleman for that information. But I think there's going to be a lot of, kind of team building with that aspect of it. We're all guys in similar aspects of our life, similar ages, and, so I think we're going to be a lot closer. I think, and kind of one thing I've said pretty repeatedly over the last couple of days is really the energy behind every single play and pitch and at bat that goes on in our games. No one on this team is going to take any of those for granted, not a single pitch. So I think you're going to see us Cardinals as a team play every pitch as if it's a life or death situation, and I think that's going to be very exciting for people to watch.
Andre, what do you think is going to be most important for you as you're making some of these changes, whether it's usage of some pitches more or things you're trying to add? What's going to be the most important part for spring training as far as you getting comfortable with those enough to bring them into the game, those changes that you're trying to make?
Yeah, really just throwing the strikes with my non-fastballs. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think that's what's going to lead to the most success, and I think the changeup, if that's an effective pitch, that would really be icing on the cake because it's just such a different look than anything I throw. I never thought I was even capable of making a ball move like that. So I think that's going to be a really weird at bat for hitters.
When McGreevy was in here, he was talking about, he said in passing that he has a large arsenal.
Yes.
And you are talking about adding a kick change and a riding fastball and also working with the same person he is. Are you guys in a competition to see who can throw more pitches?
No, definitely.
Definitely not, and he'd win that battle right now anyways. But I mean, we're two different pitchers, right? Like he throws a sinker, he's got all the pitches, like sinker, cutter, fastball, curveball, sweeper, hard cutter, slider thing, changeup. I'm sure he could throw a splitter if he really put his mind to it. So like for him, it's not his thing is more about being who he is, which is throwing lots of strikes with different pitches and just try and improve the stuff by small margins every day, just to be a little bit more effective. For me, it's kind of been the different. I've had very small arsenal, and I've tried to make that work, and so now I'm expanding on that. So we're really working on different angles. But I mean, he sees the work I'm putting in, I see the work he's putting in, and I think we're both going the right direction.
Gordon was in here yesterday, and he was also talking about adding that kick change. What is it about that grip that just makes it so difficult to? You said getting it in the glove, grabbing it on the glove on the mound. What about that pitch is an issue there that might be working through?
I think definitely what he's talking about, like I'm gonna have to pre-grip that pitch. Like it's not a pitch that's easy to get in the glove because for me, I have rather tight fingers. So like the flexibility aspect of kind of bending a middle finger is kind of hard to do without kind of a support with the other hand. So like, yeah, you're gonna have, like that's a pre-grip pitch. I think he's gonna probably be doing the same thing. And I think the way it was explained to me is what you're kind of trying to do is the goal is to make the middle finger a little bit shorter than the ring finger to help the ball kind of create that spin that's otherwise you wouldn't be able to create from your middle finger. So that alone is you're kind of just creating a very uncomfortable, it's a different feel. You're not something that's very common amongst like when you're throwing a baseball. So I think that's why it's just a harder pitch to kind of get the hang of. But it definitely gives you shapes that you're not otherwise would be capable of doing.
You referenced social media with that pitch. Was it something that intrigued you? Maybe you saw on social media, or?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely
They got all the pitching labs and pitching facilities, like when they get something that's kind of new, because not a lot of new stuff is developed in baseball, you would say, especially with pitch grips, like kind of everyone's throwing kind of the same pitches that have been around forever. So that always gains traction on social media, and that's actually how I first heard about the pitch. And I tried it. The first one I threw, like I grabbed it, didn't really know what I was doing, and I tried throwing it, and it just slipped out of my hand and basically went to the stands on the field. But then once I kind of worked with a guy who really knew how to throw it, he was able to kind of, literally the first one, I was like, wow, that's solid. So it really is, I consider it a social media pitch because that's how I saw it first.
Andre, last season coming into the year, you kind of struggled with getting your velocity up to kind of where you want it to be. Do you change your routine in the off season to kind of help you get to that quicker? And then throughout the season, did you almost feel like you were just trying to play catch up? Was that kind of like something that you dealt with as the year kind of went on?
Honestly, yes. Very, very accurate. I definitely think that was something that happened to me. Last year, dealing with a little bit of kind of like that jump in innings, I felt at the end of the year, I was pretty gassed, felt, a little bit of pain, a little bit of uncomfortability across my body. So I took extra time to let that stuff heal and recover. And then, yeah, it definitely started so slow, and I really didn't hit my velocity until game 1 of the year. And it really did feel like I was playing catch-up because once I'm throwing harder, you add 4 miles an hour to a pitcher, your arm's moving that much faster, your body's moving that much faster, your timing's different at those speeds. This year I started throwing about a month and a half earlier than I did last year. So I took about a month off and started playing catch. I've already thrown 8 bullpens or 6 to 10 bullpens. I can't tell you exactly how many at this point right now. And I'm going to throw another 6 before I even show up to spring training. So I really feel like my velocity's up. I've already been up to 92 in my bullpens, whereas like I was kind of struggling to get to 90 last year. So I really feel like that added preparation, that little bit of jump start will really help carry over with just like the timing of everything I'm doing.
Do you think, to follow up on that, do you think that kind of was part of what led to some of the struggles with the curveball command? Because it seemed like on the days that you really kind of had trouble, it was just spiking into the dirt most of the time. And so finding that release point falls into that playing catch up of your arm, getting back to where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely that.
And a little bit of confidence of it too. When you're struggling to land something, it's not like, oh, I threw a curveball first strike yesterday, so now I'm confident in it. When having that confidence is built up over time, your foundation. So being able to build that up going into spring and like throughout spring, I think will give me a lot more confidence during the year and will help get that process ready.